Om Sadashiva-Samarambham Shankaracharya-Madhyamam Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Guru-Paramparam Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahi Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mahavidvishavahi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. As we discussed that the verse Sarvada Sarvakalesu Nasti Tesham Amangalam. If we observe our life, that whoever is abiding with the God, Esam Hridisto Bhagavan Mangalayatanam Hari, that under all conditions and of course always, there is nothing called inauspicious for that person. And who is that person? Esam Hridistha Bhagavan Mangalayatanam Hari. So in whose heart the Ishvara is nothing, again the very abode of auspiciousness abides. Because of this Ishvara grace, everything happens. That's why in keeping with that, we discussed very carefully that yadatram dushanam kinchit tatra tesham mameva tat. So if there is any fallacies anywhere, definitely, even if a small iota, kinchit matra, that fallacy belongs to me. Tesham mameva tat. Whereas yadatra bhushanam kinchit. So if there is some goodness in me, tattu, whereas tesham na vai mama, that does not belong to me. So while we have discussed this, that's why the Ishvara, the Guru comes. And here Panchadasi Kara, especially the author of Panchadasi Kara means the author of Panchadasi. Because I'll be using more Sanskrit words, you have to get acquainted with it. So Vidyaranya Muni here, the first chapter is called as Tattva Viveka Prakarana. So Tattva Viveka Prakarana means Tattvasya Viveka. So you have to get acquainted with the samasa slowly, or else it will be difficult to understand. You will not be able to enjoy the teaching. So in this book talked about Tattva Viveka Prakarana, Tattvasya Viveka. So if you want to translate, Viveka means generally discrimination, but differentiation. So differentiating what? So this Tattvasya, the differentiation of Tattva. So Viveka means the differentiation, the process of differentiating, the process of discriminating. So instead of discriminating, I'm putting, differentiating. The process of differentiation. That's why the differentiation of what? Of Tattva, Tattvasya. That's why sixth case comes. Tattvasya. So when it says of Tattva, Tattva means what? The truth, the reality. So when it says a truth, that means the differentiation has to happen if there are more than one, if there is more than one. If there is only one, only truth, then can there be any differentiation? So that means when he talks about that, the differentiation of truth from what? From untruth. That's why each word, how it is being looked at. So when he talks about the differentiation of the truth, that means, please understand, you can separate, you can differentiate, please, there is not separation. Differentiation, that means there is some type of confusion. If it could have been done, Veda, it should be, separated. It is not black and white. It is not so simple that you can separate, this is truth, this is untruth. But where is being highlighted here? Being Viveka, differentiation. That means the untruth appears to be truth. Or rather, truth appears to be untruth. That's the right word, okay? Truth appears to be untruth. So that's why it is a process. And this chapter is being highlighted. Of course, different prakriyas will be coming. That we'll see as it comes. Now with this, let us now chant the first mantra. Or here is a verse. Please read. Namah Sri Sankarananda Guru Padam Bhujanmane Savilasa Mahamoha Graha Grasaika Karmane Namah Sri Sankarananda Guru Padam Bhujanmane Savilasa Mahamoha Graha Grasaika Karmane. If you observe, it's a very long word, okay? So that means many samasas. So you have to understand. This is the whole point starts here. Generally, we have a process that we call Mangalacharana. Technical word called Mangalacharana. So Mangalacharana means, you can say, an auspicious introduction in a form of a prayer. And when it is done in a form of a prayer, so it has to be for a purpose, generally, for the attainment of success at the beginning of any work, whatever you undertake, especially when we do any sort of composition. So any writing, any composition, so there has to be Mangalacharana. Generally this Mangalacharana can be done mentally also. But most of the cases it is done clearly, openly. So when this is done clearly, openly, that also we need to see why and how. Then you can say, look, this Mangalacharana need not be done. What is this Mangalacharana? Why to do a prayer? You mean that only if I do prayer, my work will complete? There are hundreds of work have done better prayers, but nothing has happened. And there are some works also without prayer, it has been completed. So why to do that? One can ask this question. But we look at for many purposes. If you say or if you ask this sort of absurd question, also we have absurd answer. Because as the questions also, answer we have. That how do you know about your obstacles? Especially after doing a lot of prayer, nothing has happened. That means maybe your obstacles were much more worse. Maybe it has brought down. So imagine, in spite of all prayers, nothing has happened, we could not complete. Imagine without prayers, what would have happened? You would not have existed by this time. Because we need to give this sort of answer to this sort of question. There is no other way of teaching. So however, we have to say very carefully here that when this Mangalacharanam is done, generally when we look at Mangalacharanam is done for 3 purposes. So the first one is called Parisamaptyartham. So that means for the successful completion of the work that is undertaken without any obstruction. Because you do not know whether you are going to complete or not. Because there are a lot of obstacles. Something will happen, especially imagine this Vidyaranya Muni time. The Muslims, the invaders, what rackers they created, what a destruction they created, how many people they killed. They didn't allow anything to continue in India those days. In fact, in Delhi, what we call as Qutub Minar, it is not Qutub Minar. It is called Dhruva Stamba. So Dhruva Stamba means that Dhruva means the pole star, okay? So in the name of Dhruva, it was being built with a lotus. So what they did, these Muslim invaders, they remodeled, rechanged, and they called as Qutub Minar, like Taj Mahal. Imagine what sort of pain even if Acharyas those days must have gone through. So there is no, because that's why the problem with India is, especially after independence also, nobody taught this thing. That why and how. All the wrong things have been taught. Who built Qutub Minar, who built Taj Mahal has been taught to us from our childhood, of course wrongly. But who invaded Ayodhya, who destroyed Kashi temple, Somanath temple, nothing has been taught to us. Very sad thing. However, coming back to the point here, we need to understand this, unless we look at this aspect, nothing will happen. So that's why here is being highlighted. Parisamaptyartham, that's why the prayer, that is how the Hinduism, I can say very carefully, the Vedic culture survived because of this prayer. Not by anything. But unfortunately now, because of the pseudo understanding, the prayer part is missing now. Either is super mechanical or superficial. That is the fear now this we all have. Earlier, at least when Muslims were there or Britishers were there, people were genuine. But after so-called independence, people have lost that genuineness. This is the sad part of it. So coming back here very carefully, we need to look at this point. That when this Mangalacharanam is being done, first point is for Parisamaptyartham. To make sure that the composition or the work that has been started, it should complete successfully. Means for the successful completion, I'm sorry to say. Successful completion. Then second point we called Prachaya Gamanam. This is a beautiful point. So Prachaya Gamanam means propagation among the people of posterity. That is one of the most important things. That is what is missing. That's why because of this I am little bit, stubborn with reference to Muslims and other people. Every Acharya's job is that to make sure it should be Prachaya Gamanam. Prachaya Gamanam means what? To hand over the knowledge, propagating this knowledge among the next generation. If you look at Lord Krishna, best example, there is nothing to be done by him. He was contented by himself. Financially, socially, family-wise, all the way he was contented. There was no need of him coming and being part of Mahabharata or many other things that he did it. But he did. This is what the point. To make sure that this has to continue. That's why the most important thing is what I hand over to the next generation. If I don't hand over things to the next generation, that means I don't have a right to live either. Especially the role of a acharya, role of a parents. That's why parents by default called acharya. You can look at any family, wherever family has ruined, wherever the family structure has been destroyed, it is not because of anything, because of the parents. Because they could not hand over, there was something wrong in them, that they could not hand over the same thing to the next generation. They were not worthy enough. So that's why we do Mangalacharanam, to make sure that let it be handed over, propagating among the people of posterity. Because those days, now also don't worry. Those days you write palm leaf. Let us say you complete everything. So after completing you keep it, then white one comes and takes away everything. For them it is food, you understand? Finished. Forget about that. These invaders, they burnt. How many scriptures have been burnt, you cannot believe it. I am shocked to know also some points. There are few scriptures are available, rare scriptures are available in German, not in India. They have taken away. Starting from Buddhism, of course, Muslim and Britishers, they have done whatever damage they wanted to do it. The best example is Padmanabha temple. Another example is of Orissa. Orissa, the Konark temple, the tower, the topmost tower, was being broken by Britishers. And they took away, destroyed. The main temple is gone because of Britishers. Look at Padmanabha temple. Thank God they had some brain. Because the statue is completely made up of gold. Then what they did is, they know this will not remain. So what they did is they created a lepam, one type of coating of stone. And interestingly, nobody knew. That was the best part of it, okay? Means whoever did few of them, they never revealed to anybody. Only few years back, because one particular person fell down from the pit. Then they tried to inquire and all this thing. Finally they discovered it is not stone, but it is gold. Just to protect, nothing else. Please understand the concept, how much fear. So whole thing is what? Second point is Prachegamanam. That's why more and more prayer has to be done. This knowledge to be handed over to next generation. Or else knowledge will not sustain the way things are moving, especially in the Google era. Google is not supporting any one of us, destroying all of us. Even though we do take the help of Google, but really Google never helps anybody. Google is only helping their company, not anybody. So coming back to the point that Mangalacharanam also is done per second, called Prachegavanam. Third one is called Sishtachara. This is another crucial point. Sishtachara. So Sishtachara means this is called practice of a wise person, which is being taught in Bhagavad Gita. Yadada charati sreshta tat tat deva itaro janaha. As the great people live their life, so accordingly common people do that. Like I remember one person said, wherever I stand, from there the queue starts. This is a very big statement, okay? So wherever I stand, the fellow breaks the queue and says, hey, you come in the queue. The person says, no, wherever I stand, from there the queue starts. This is called, greatness of the person. You understand? This is a VIP culture. In India, we have called VIP culture. So everybody wants to be VIP. Thank God now red light is not there. Or else every dumb and any dumb fellow who was using this red light. What is a horrible thing? You cannot think of moment red light comes, everybody gives the way. So here, this is called Sishtachara. So, being a responsible person, how you lead your life. Because that only shows and that gives a path. In fact, that becomes a rule for others, for common people. Because when you are a role model, please understand. Especially every parent, this is the problem with the parents. Without knowing the value of being parents, they become parents. This is the sad part of it. That whether they like it or not, they are the role models for the child, for the children. A child always, yes, every son, this is what my understanding. For every son, the first role model will be father. For every girl child, mother will be the first role model. And later on what happens, you know better. Because the role model fails. So when you discover that my role model is not no more role model, then what happens to you? You become rebellious, you become different. So that's why every acharya has a role to play. That's why they are role model. So that's why they make sure whatever they do, they have to do this Mangalacharanam. They have to do prayer. That's why if you go to any, especially Math, whether it's Shankara Math, whether you go to meet any Ramanujacharya, unless somebody newly created, okay? One fellow I know who is newly created, let me not talk. Or you go to any Pejwar Math, any Math you go, where there is a tradition lineage is there. You will discover they do spend time in puja. Not unlike us, you understand, we are very convenient Swamijis, okay? I am sorry to use the word. We are very convenient Swamijis. So, conveniently use everything is not right either. We do criticize sometimes. You might have noticed I do criticize sometimes because it's convenient enough for me to criticize, which is very unfortunate. So here is being said that Sishtachara highlights that the way you function, lead your life will have direct impact on next generation or nearby your people. That's why when we start the work, that bending down with humility, with a prayer, with a different puja, definitely gives an occasion for others to understand it. Or else, what you can say, yeah, everything is Brahman, everything is Atman. It does not work. I can tell you openly why Christianity failed, whereas Islam is growing. Let me tell you this secret also. Because in Christianity they could not adopt. The strict rule was not there. Then what happens? Slowly faded. There is nothing called common. Only Saturday, Sunday sometimes to meet, and that too freely. Whereas in Islam, they made certain rules. Whether you like it or not, every Friday such and such time you have to be there. Wherever you are, even if on the road. That's wrong, okay? I'm sorry to say. You have to. And that's why they could stick to it and they are sticking. That's another point. I'm not talking about looking at the other aspect. Our aspect, please let us look at. So that's why the Sishtachara is very important. So that's why here you can see these three things have been really utilized properly. Why? Remember, for a wise person, the one who has understood, and especially a person like Vidyaranya Muni, with all sort of background, there is no need for him to do prayer. Because any moment and every moment, both way, he understands that he is Brahman. Of course, being devoted to the God, because he had the Purascharanam, okay? Deity is with him. So when the deity is with him, so that means what? If the closed eyes or open the eyes, always remembers it. That is the impact of Purascharanam. But in spite of that, there is no need for him to do prayer. Please understand. That's why I said, you know what? Sarvada sarvakaresu nasti tesam amangalam. That under all circumstances, in fact, you can say always, there is nothing inauspicious in these people. Because why? In whose heart, who resides? They resides Mangalayatanam Hari. The Hari resides. So when the Lord resides in you, how can you think that there will be some inauspicious in you? Because the God itself is the abode of auspiciousness. And interestingly, you are Guhayam Tishtha. We say, no, Hrudi Guha. In Kathopanishad we have seen, in Mundaka Upanishad we have seen, where the God abides. Pratyagatma Rupe. As Pratyagatma, it resides within one's own heart. We have seen, we have gone through in details. So if that is the understanding, then what is the need of prayer? But here he does the prayer. And interesting, how the prayer does? Such a beautiful prayer we need to look at. Prayer, as we look at, can be done by remembering Ishtadevata or Guru. So Mangalacharanam can be done through different methods. One is remembering the Guru or your Ishtadevata. But here interestingly, both Ishtadevata and Guru Namaskaram is being done. So he has taken both. So this is his, profundity is in language. Not only in understanding, you can see the language, the first line itself, how long he makes it, okay? So that shows, his greatness. So he does namaskaram, salutations to both Guru, so both his Ishtadevata and Guru. How? Let us look at it, so that it will be easier for us to understand. Because this first verse I was looking at, okay? I was thinking that first and second verse I can complete today, but let us see how much I can do it. Namaha Sri Sankarananda Guru Padambu Janmane. So Namaha, start with. Namaha means my salutation, my prostration. So to whom? To my Guru. And okay, Guru means what? Do you think that Guru means the body? Please understand. Oh, Guru means the photo of the Guru. Guru means this, that. It's not like that, please understand. So we have to see that Guroha Padoyava Ambu Janma Kamalam Tasme Namaha. When we say Gurave Namaha, he uses this word. So what sort of things we need to do here? Beautifully is being used that Guru here stands to the lotus feet of Guru. Guru Padambu Janmani. So when he says Padambu Janmani, so now that what happens? Tasya Guroho Padoyava Ambu. So we'll see in details. Now my prostration, salutation to the lotus feet of Guru. And who is that Guru? Says Sri Shankarananda. Okay, this is the first line. Sri Shankarananda. So let us look at each word, okay? It's not simply, as we have already discussed. First let us look at step by step that this Vidyaranya Muni had 3 teachers. Before sannyasa, he had 2 teachers. One is called Swami Bharatitirtha, other one is Sri Kanthacharya, which is already been mentioned, and of course the text, if you look at, is very, there is in this work it is being very nicely highlighted. The text name is called Kala Nirnaya. So he had written Kala Nirnaya book. So in that Kala Nirnaya, this is being mentioned. So from that book it comes. But after sannyasa, here is being pointed out that his guru name is called Shankarananda. So he adds Sri Shankarananda insert. But now we need to look at, because this words very carefully. First is called Shankara, because as I told you, that he has done prostration or this Mangalacharanam is in the form of salutations to both Ishtadevata and teacher, the Guru. But I say only Shankarananda is a Guru. So how is the Ishtadevata? That's why we need to understand the word very carefully. Shankara. Shankara means Sham Karoti iti Shankara. Sham means Sukham, Niratisayam Anandamiti. So that means that which gives in general term, that which is auspiciousness, that which gives or causes auspicious in you, gives you happiness, that too unlimited, that we'll discuss in later in verse number 3 when it comes Sambit, that we'll be discussing. And that is what? This Shankaram is none other than Paramatma. So the moment you look at Shankaram is Paramatma, that means what? God automatically. So now my prostration to Shankara, the Paramatma. Then secondly comes Ananda. So both are in Samanadhikarana, both are in the same case. This is the Sanskrit comes, okay? Shankara. So that's why we say Sankarascha asau Anandascha iti. Becomes Shankarananda. So when it becomes Sankarascha asau Ananda iti, Shankarananda, that means what? Pratyek bhina Paramatma Sayava Guruhu. So Shankara becomes Paramatma, Ananda becomes Jivatma. Now that Paramatma and Jivatma is one and same, and that Guru. And he is my Guru. Means who being Jivatma understands Paramatma, and who is none other than Paramatma being in Jivatma. So my prostration to that Guru means not ordinary Guru. Remember, he has understood, who knows. So this Shankarananda, and of course it's not ordinary Shankarananda. Before that comes Sri Shankarananda. So when we use the word Sri, that's why the beautiful culture we had in India, unfortunately is gone. Because of this, so-called English and globalization. We always are being referred Sriman, Srimati, Sri. Sometimes, the Saubhagyavati, Chiranjeevi, that is in marriage time generally it comes. Generally anywhere a man is being called Sri or sometimes Sriman. Ended with Sri, Sriman. Srimati, ended with Sri. It was a very good culture we had. Now what has come in? Mr. Mrs. And sometimes in the airport they will call Mr. Swami. Okay, I can understand in overseas they call me Mr. Swami, I can understand. Okay. Hey, you Indian idiots, okay? I'm sorry to say. Means some common sense, common brain should have that if a lady on the counter or a man makes no difference. Men are worse, okay? Because little bit study, because what study and what job they do, you know better. No brain. So, but here, by default, just I am trying to tell, the cultural practices was there. Before anybody's name, first Sri was added. Like in Tamil Nadu, the word Sri was being replaced with Thiru. It's a very nice way of same thing, Thiru. Including the place name is mainly Thiru, Thiruvidandai, Thiruvanmiyur, Thiruvattur. If you look at many things, Thiru, name also starts with Thiru. Because to say it that first you are connected with God, then you are connected with the body. It's a very beautiful concept. Because the name is connected to your body. Once body is gone, your name is gone, don't worry. Only you will be a nameplate, okay? Whereas that's why you have to understand that first you are related with God. That was the cultural practices. Then you are related with your body. Then what happens in your day-to-day life? You will be a better person. But here is a little differently. We need to look at here. Srimanscha Ashohu Shankarananda Guruschayeti. Because you have to take this samas very carefully. So the Sri Shankarananda, is it that Shankarananda is Sri? Not like that. He says like Gandha Deepa, we play with the words, Gandha Deepa. When we do the puja, Gandha Deepam Samarpayami. So Gandha is different. Gandha means the fragrance, okay? Deepa means the light, the lamp. They are both in different way, but they are connected. So how they are different but connected? Same thing also. Sri and Shankarananda, even though both are different but are connected. So that is being highlighted. Sri means here the one who is embodiment of prosperity or who gives prosperity. So that's why Bhukti Kama, Bhukti Data. So the one who gives you through his blessing different type of comforts. Because if you don't have basic comfort, so how can you understand Atman or Brahman? You understand what I am trying to say? They say very, very nicely, when you are hungry, how can you understand the importance of this Shastriya Sangeetam or any poem? Impossible. That's why it's being highlighted here very nicely. That when it talks about the Sri, just I am trying to find out this word very nicely. Okay. Okay. Yadva. Okay. Anena Guruhu. Okay. The one who is endowed with, this Guru is endowed with all Aishwaryas, all sort of accomplishment. And what are the accomplishment? Aishwarya, Anima, Mahima, Garima, all these things. So that's why that person is called Sri here. Or he too said, Shriyam Bhutyam Sham Karoti Shankara. Another word is being used. That, okay, what happens? The one who extends gives, which I already told you this point. Who becomes the cause of your bhukti. That's why bhukti data rupena. In the form of giving comfort to you. That's why the Guru becomes both bhukti data and mukti data. Which in Guru Stotram every day we chant, okay? Bhukti mukti pradata cha. So there when he talks about bhukti mukti pradata cha, so this is bhukti first. So that's why this is Sri, what happens? Then that Guru, now what does it do? Very nicely. Now my salutation. So if I do this salutation, what is going to happen? Says beautifully, yes, all these things I have done for a purpose. Because he has got a big job. Because without purpose I will not do anything, okay? This much I am very clear. And what is the purpose? The next line he talks, okay? Now says that his job is called Graseika Karmani. So when he talks about Graseika Karmani, beautifully we need to look at this point. So when he says Graseika Karmani, how to look at this Graseika Karmani? Grasa means grasanam, destroying. Saeva ekam mukhya karma vyaparo yasya tattasya tasmai namaha. So whose main function is to destroy. So my salutation to the feet of, that is what we see, my salutation to the lotus feet of my Guru, who is none other than Sri Shankarananda. And why I am doing it? And who is that? He says beautifully, whose main ekam karma, graseka, ekam means mukhya karma, the first karma, the priority is what? To destroy. So what to destroy? So that means some object of destruction is required. Please try to, whenever I am talking, try to mark that words, okay? So that it becomes easier for you to understand later on. So graseka karmani. So what is that grasa? Says beautifully that you need to see what is that graha. So he destroys. His main function is to destroy of what? Graha. So before that is there, okay? Graseka karmani, before that is called graha. So what do you mean by the graha? Graha is called crocodile. So when you are in the claws of crocodile, how you are helpless? Have you ever observed? You are not dead. Suppose you are dead, no problem, okay? Crocodile does not kill you straight away. It takes its own time, you understand? You cannot move. So when you are captured or under the spell of crocodile, you are alive. The way crocodile drags is amazing. It doesn't swallow just like that. If it catches hold of your leg, just it catches. Then through that will drag you in such a till you are dead. You understand? Only once you are dead, then only the crocodile will start. You understand what I am trying to say? Because crocodile is very smart. If it leaves you, you will run away. Then difficult to catch. So here is being very carefully use the word graha. Graha means crocodile. So he is the destroyer of, and whose main function, main work is to destroy of what? Crocodile. Now you may ask the question, what is that crocodile? So is he going to fight with a crocodile or what? Hey, not like that. Don't worry, you have a best crocodile. And what is that crocodile? He uses this word very nicely. The crocodile here is called Mahamoha. So Mahamoha means we call great illusion, but here is basic ignorance. Because very nicely is being, this Mahamoha, the basic ignorance. So that is being considered as called crocodile. Because the ignorance only creates all sort of problem in you. You are caught up in the samsara. You are caught up in many ways, in differently. Like as the crocodile catches you, or catches somebody, hope not to catch you, okay? Be safer side, better to use. As the crocodile catches any animal or anything, how the one who is caught is completely helpless. So also, you are completely helpless when you are under the spell of your basic ignorance. See, there are two types of ignorance, okay? Please understand. The ignorance of object is not a problem. Ignorance of a person is not a problem. Because ignorance of a person will lead to be cheated. Maximum. You understand what I am trying to say? Ignorance of a person, maximum it will lead to be cheated. Nothing else. Will take away something from you. But you will never get hurt. You will never feel bad. The person will snatch away something from you. The person will take away something from you. But the basic ignorance that is in you, which invited or aggravated the ignorance of others, could join with that. That is the problem for us in our day-to-day life. Can you see this point very carefully? So we have to be careful with basic ignorance, not with the ignorance of others. But the problem with all of us is we are working with the ignorance of others. We want to have the knowledge of others. Can you see this point? Whole effort, including Shastra Jnanam, ignorance of Shastra. So I want to have knowledge of Shastra. It's not like we need to address the basic ignorance. And this basic ignorance means about me, myself. That I am insecure. That I am not good. Whatever, low thinking or wrong thinking I have about me, myself. So that is being called here as that Mahamoha. And that Mahamoha is a crocodile. Imagine, you are always with crocodile. Can you see this point? Such a beautiful description. Remember always, don't tell me that, hey look, he caught me, she caught me, my children caught me, my wife caught me, my husband caught me, you understand? My parents-in-law caught me, my parents caught me. No, nobody, my boss, nobody catches you. It is you who catch you. Your basic ignorance plays the role of a crocodile. That's why he says beautifully, when this happens, then of course, second thing what happens is, now it is not only the job of the Guru to destroy this Mahamoha Grasaha, means the basic ignorance that is being presented as the crocodile. Of course, beautifully, along with that word, the first word, Sabilasa. That's something really beautiful word. So, Bilasa means Karya Varga. So, Karya Varga means with all effects, you understand? Because the basic ignorance doesn't come alone, it comes with its family. And it comes with children, grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, I don't know what else to talk. So instead of talking about a big family with effect, so that be a little bit careful in the class, so that don't get into other mode now, okay? So this Mahamoha comes with the Vilasa, with its family, with all effects. But here he says, Sa Vilasa. That means when it comes along with all these things, the job of the teacher not only to destroy the Mahamoha, the basic ignorance, also with all the effect of this Mahamoha. So that's why my salutation to that teacher. Now when he talks all these things, now we need to really look at beautifully with this. I'll complete it so quickly I can. Now in this, many things have been taught, which also will be seen. Why this lotus feet is being highlighted, that point we'll have a look at in the next class. Of course, here the Jivatma, Paramatma Aikyam also is being highlighted. And interestingly, also, through this Aanubandha Chatustaya is being highlighted. So what is Aanubandha Chatustaya? Because there are 4 essential aspects always are involved for any work. If these 4 things are not there with reference to any text or any work, that means that text is not going to serve the purpose either. So that is technically called Aanubandha Chatustaya, not Sadhana Chatustaya, okay? We'll see. Sadhana Chatustaya is different than Aanubandha Chatustaya. Sadhana Chatustaya came, I hope I'll remember this, okay? I'll be asking once in a while, okay? So what is this Aanubandha Chatustaya? One is called Vishaya. So when it is called Vishaya, then of course Prayojanam, second. Third is called Adhikari. Fourth is called Sambandha. Because these are the things, terminology you have to remember. This is most important terminology, okay? Or else you will get lost. Because I will be talking sometime Aanubandha Chatustaya and you will see what is this. So starts with Vishaya. So Vishaya means the subject matter. So when you look at any work, the subject matter must be clear. If there is no subject matter, then what will you, time pass. So at least there should be some subject matter to pass the time, or else you will be confused and you will leave the book aside. You understand? So here what is the subject matter? Here the subject matter is Shankara and Ananda. Both. This first verse itself talks about Aanubandha Chatustaya very carefully, leaving it little bit here and there. So both Shankara and Ananda being in Samanadhikarana. How it is possible? Because it talks that it reveals the identity of Jiva and Ishvara, Jivatma and Paramatma. So this is the subject matter of this text. Then comes Prayojana. So what is the Prayojana? So Prayojana is very clear. We saw through this Mahamoha Grasa destruction. You understand? So what does it do? You are caught with crocodile. So when this crocodile is, do you know, swallowing you? Now here the Prayojana was to destroy the effect of this basic ignorance, and of course with its effect, along with effects. So that becomes the Prayojana, the purpose. So once the purpose is being taken care, third comes Adhikari. And who is that Adhikari? Eligible person, qualified person. Vishaya, Prayojana, then comes Adhikari, eligibility. The eligibility, because as you know, for anything and everything, eligibility is must. If you are not qualified, you cannot understand either. And who is eligible for this text? Verse number 2. In fact, in the first verse number said, my salutation. So that means the person who has Shraddha in teacher, who is ready to serve, which is going to be elaborated in verse number 2. Because Shraddha plays a big role till you have strength to inquire, strength to confirm the knowledge. Till that time, if you don't have Shraddha in teacher, definitely you will not have any knowledge either. So that's why we'll be seeing in details in the verse number 2, which will be elaborated further. So that's why here Adhikari is the one who has Shraddha, who is ready to serve the teacher. And of course, for that what happens, we'll see in details. Fourth one is called Sambandha. So when it talks about Sambandha, Sambandha means the relation between the text and the purpose to be accomplished. Yes, I understand that my purpose is to be happy, to be comfortable, or to be free from this crocodile, because you gave a new word which is very fascinating. I am looking at that. To be released from this, crocodile, because that fellow is always trying to swallow me. I am running, chasing, whatnot, all the time struggling, and that too in the water. If it is outside, I can manage, that too in the water, okay? Because all fight happens in ignorance by ignorance. Can you see? So that's why ignorance, the crocodile is stronger than me. I understand. This is the purpose. But what is the connection between this text and that I will be released from the crocodile? That's why we look at two aspects. As we look at in Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda, we need to look at both aspects. In Karma Kanda, there are different means. Okay, let us say there are different ends, different means, and different types of adhikaris. You want to go to heaven, that is end. For that, different means are there. You want to have a child, that means what? You have another, you become another adhikari. For that also there are criteria, means. So the goals are different, means are different, and of course adhikaris are different. In short, that has nothing to do with it here. Whereas in Jnana Kanda, interestingly, goal is one. That's why in Karma Kanda, only if you are interested in Putra Kameshti, you will be interested to listen how to do Putra Kameshti. That is the provision. You understand? That is the connection between your goal and or your purpose and the text. You will not be interested to know about going to heaven unless you want to time pass or to have some punyam. That is how people look at all these Puranas, Kathas, good for nothing. Neither they imbibe the values, that's another point. But they listen to all these things. Every religion is there, don't worry, okay? Like listening to sermons. You think by listening to sermon anybody has done anything? Nothing enters, okay? Everything goes away. But hey, it's like, an unknown person goes to opera. It is like me going to Italian opera. Okay, that's a very beautiful example. Only I can hear only nothing else. Okay. Coming back to the point. Okay. So here in Jnana Kandam, what happens is the purpose is to be free. But why I am not free? It is because of my ignorance. So because of the ignorance, I am bound. Now whole teaching is what? That hey, look, you are a free person, nothing else. Naturally you are a free person. Because of your ignorance, you consider yourself that you are bound. So this teaching, the text teaches you that you are free. That's why there is a direct connection. We say bodhaka buddhya sambandha, pratipadaka pratipadya sambandha. These two terminology, remember, okay? Bodhaka buddhya, pratipadaka pratipadya sambandha. Too much today, let me not talk, okay? So this is the relationship between the text and the purpose. So while covering this four, so what we need to do? Now we will be seeing that in the next verse, who is Adhikari on, okay, tomorrow is Friday, we will see tomorrow. Please close your eyes. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Shishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.